Survivor's ready. Go!
Travis spoken.
Boston Rob and Amber are gonna do it.
This is a business trip, as I like to say.
You, Brad Culpepper.
I'm tired of you and the fucking chicken.
You can call me the puppet master. They can be my little puppets.
It's not like you're making a deal with the devil here.
You get to milk your own milk, I guess.
Who the hell voted for chicken?
We got enough rocks here, too. We could build a pretty decent shelter just using rocks.
I'm supposed to talk Lima to you. You understand that better?
Direct from Hobart, it's time for the only Survivor podcast in Australia dedicated to Survivor, bringing you all the latest interviews, episodes, and opinions from the greatest reality show on the planet. It's Survivor Oz, and here's your host, Ben Waterworth.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Survivor Oz, Australia's #1 TV and film podcast, as we come to you live and direct from Hobart, and I have people touching me for once, which is not in the way I like it, for the final Oztopsy of the season, Survivor Worlds Apart, episode 14, the reunion is done and dusted. We know who's on the next season. Shit, there's a lot to talk about, and I've got a dickhead sitting next to me. Hi, Noah.
How you going?
Good, how are you?
I'm mixed emotions because Keith! And also, Shane was robbed, fucking woo, mind my language, but woo is on the next season, and also a finale happened. But Keith and Shane, I can't do it. I'm gonna spontaneously combust.
I want to say that Noah's reaction to seeing Keith, Paul and I nearly had to run to the next room because we thought he was going to start humping us. But
I was turning into the Hulk.
yes, indeed.
Call the ambulance.
Noah, welcome to a live at my house.
Yeah, where's my house? I want Snug back.
You want Snug back?
Yes. Hashtag Snug was robbed.
Hashtag Snug was robbed. I'm going to look that up.
Yeah, these people are wondering what the hell's happening. I'm not at Snug.
Yeah, he does. He's allowed to leave once a year.
Crack in the universe.
Yes, big crack. Speaking of cracks, all the way from Canada, please welcome Colin Hildy. Colin, welcome back.
Yeah, Winnipeg, the crack of Canada. We are right in the center, so I guess it's fair enough.
I hear that's a problem.
What?
Being a crack in Canada? No?
Beats me. I don't know.
I don't know where I was going with that. Good to have you here. Good to have you up nice and early. Also, speaking up of nice and early, it's a man who drinks alcohol. It's Cable Brandon. Cable, welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
That was good intro there.
No.
How are you?
Oh, look, I'm excited to talk Survivor. We've got lots to talk about. And yeah, I'm like with Noah. There's obviously been already controversy with even the potential winner and the fact that Carolyn didn't get many votes. And obviously the epicness of Jeff just telling us who the 20 are going out to play again.
And look who's next to us on the screen.
That's me, Ben. You're pointing to me.
Oh, hang on. Well, I'm pointing like that way a little bit.
Hello, I'm back.
Nice DVD shelf in the background there, Cable, by the way.
Oh, that's just one of many.
I should have said I've got Kucha Blue for Kimmy and Varna.
Yeah.
I'm wearing Kucha tonight in honour of Kimmy and Varna.
Now, before I introduce our perennial last guest, I should say to the people actually watching this live on Spreecast, in terms of the technicalities of, our sound quality and everything, it's a little bit higgledy-piggledy probably. We've played with some settings and it might not be perfect, so you might hear some echoes, you might not hear us perfectly. And for our pre-recorded ones, probably the same. We don't know how this is going to turn out. We're trying different because Noah's here. He's fucked up the whole thing. So blame Noah, blame Snug. And Cable, are you drinking alcohol?
Maybe.
I thought you didn't drink anymore.
Oh, no, that was just a lie. That's like playing Survivor with you. Like, I was going to lie to your face to get back in.
Good, all right. And also, speaking of lying to our face, it's a man who doesn't do it. It's Jared Lumick from Emu Plains. Hello, Jared.
Hello, it's great to be known as the most honest Ozlet. It's such a beautiful title, and it's not hard to be it.
I actually just realised it's what, 5 to midnight right now. You've got to be up in about 5 hours to watch a Eurovision semi-final. Are you going to make it through this episode, Jared?
Well, I'm hoping that this just finishes at 5 a.m. so I can just go straight to that.
Yeah, stuff it. We'll all just stay up and watch Eurovision live. Cable's down for that, aren't you?
Yeah, no.
And we can pop Colin's Eurovision cherry. Did that sound wrong?
Sorry.
it's good to be here. It's a nice full room. If Colin and Jared want to join us on cam, please feel free, and we'll add you. Do it. Yes.
It's finale. Let's go wild.
Let's go.
Ozlet's gone wild for finale.
Spring break.
Also spring break. Worlds Apart finale.
All right, let's talk about the finale. Let's start with you, Colin. What did you think of the finale and how it all finished for season 30?
It's really hard at this point because I think there were some good moments in the finale, but the fact that Carolyn didn't get any votes, I mean, it's not just as a Carolyn fan I'm upset, but I feel like one of the things that the editors did well this season was they took what was probably a pretty generic Survivor season and they edited it to make it a little bit more exciting. But in doing that in this episode, I feel like they wanted to, as in past weeks, surprise the audience by making you think that Carolyn had this as a lock. But in doing that, I don't think they properly explained how Mike could win this. So the ending was a disappointment, not just as a Carolyn fan, but it was a disappointment because I don't think the show properly explained things to us. And like, I have opinions on the entire season that pretty much been summed up every single week that this show is only giving us decent tribal councils and there's really nothing else going on. So the reunion show was a little bit of a worse story than the episode, but I'm sure we'll get to that later.
Oh, we will. Trust me. Jared, what did you think?
It was an interesting one. I think just the way things turned out was so kind of unexpected. I think if you'd asked anybody last week who they thought the final three would be, I don't think anybody was going to pick Mike and Carolyn there together with Will. I mean, everybody sort of thought Will would make it, but the fact that Mike and Carolyn were both there was just a really kind of weird, unforeseen turn of events. So, I mean, it was an interesting episode just with the people who got voted out. Yeah, it was good. The reunion was potentially the worst of all time. I'd go out there and say it. Yeah, it was just... I think it was an okay end to the season. I wasn't expecting anything amazing, and I don't know if I'd say it was amazing, but it was good.
I'd say that the reunion was just Jeff Probst trying to, get a pilot out for his daytime talk show again. It was like Jeff Probst meets Oprah. It was... Well, we'll get to that. Cable.
That's what I thought about it. No, look, I liked it. There's still a lot to talk about in the decision making, I guess, of Mike even taking that risk of taking Carol. And I think Rodney. Well, then having said that, people put their hand. Was there 3 people that put their hands up to say they'd vote for Rodney if he made it?
2 or 3, wasn't there?
2.5, kind of.
But again, it's hard to know in the heat of the moment when they're out there.
That was retroactive voting then.
Yeah, exactly. So they're always hard to really gauge. I thought he took a massive risk taking Carolyn. And I agree, the reunion was really disappointing, and we knew it was going to be hurried along because of obviously the reveal of the 20 coming in. I don't know. I think there's a whole thing that we probably as fans have missed too, that I didn't catch up on all the Dan stuff after he got booted out, but he obviously slammed the CBS editors as painting him as a villain, and the fact that Jeff had to bring back footage like extra, I guess a extra scene to prove his point was really interesting.
Jeff's little Ben Waterworth moment of you did this, but you also did this. I don't know. I explained that better earlier today when I said it, didn't I?
Yeah.
We'll get to that. I think what we'll do in terms of talk, because we've got so much to talk about, because we obviously want to talk about the cast reveal and the reunion and stuff like that. So we probably won't go over a whole lot. We basically skip right to the challenge, because this was a reunion of challenges. I mean, what do we have? 3 challenges, wasn't it? We had the reward/advantage challenge again, followed by 2 immunity challenges. But we got this mixed in with the family visit. Cable, we love a good family visit, don't we?
Yeah, I actually thought I wasn't overly emotional about it, but I felt like it.
Jeff was.
I felt like it was one of the more emotional ones we've seen for a while. So, no, I think it was really good. I always found it funny though when Rodney was calling his dad, who was his best mate or whatever, he kept calling him brother. I'm like, he's your father. But anyway.
Were you not expecting Rodney's dad to just like when Rodney's crying to just slap him around the head and go, "Man up"? That was good. Rodney's dad, Rodney Senior,
and then obviously Will's sort of quick turnaround and let's go. That was pretty cool.
Now I feel like we need to be careful in talking about Will's wife, but we got to see Manifa, yes. And obviously Sierra's dad, who they just gelled over like super quickly. And here's Sierra's dad. Moving on, here's Manifa. And then like obviously Mike's mum and
I love that she got the same amount of confessionals that Will got in this episode. Deborah got the same amount that Will got in this finale.
And Carolyn's husband Joel. Was it Joel? Was Joel, wasn't it? Yeah, he was cool. Colin, what was your take on again like the reward / advantage, the whole family, this whole situation?
I just wish they had done the because I like the family challenges, but I wish they had done it maybe one episode prior. And it's a little bit too much in the finale going on. I mean, we spent more time watching challenges than we did watching Tribal Council, which again we'll get to that later. But they should have done this one episode earlier. And as far as the advantage goes, I mean, I don't think it really helped this time or if it was much of an advantage, but I'm kind of over having advantages in the final episode. I mean, when you're down to the final 5, let the people just fight it out. I don't think there should be any type of advantages going in.
Noah?
Yeah, the biggest problem, the non-challenge aspects of this episode were quite good. Like, Carolyn's actually still going to be around, and there's going to be a fire-making challenge, and Mike's getting torn to shreds, and it's a pretty exciting final tribal. But the challenges, there was 3 of them, and then on top of that, we had a loved ones visit, and no one can hear me in the chat.
No one can hear Noah in the live thing.
Oh, they can hear it in the pre-record.
Yeah, just imagine what he's saying and download it. Like, we're doing this deliberately for you to download this later so we get more hits on our website.
No,
and vote for the Oscars.
The loved one's visit was rushed, and I don't think it was one of the great or emotional ones. It was just whatever. 3 challenges, advantage, and then we get to see the advantage. Like, I think Will spoke twice in this entire episode. I hated all that challenges.
Jared?
I'd agree that I think the loved ones sort of visit works well earlier. I just like seeing sort of more of the pairings and more of the people see their loved ones. And for me, the loved one challenges are the best when the loved ones actually get to compete. I don't really like the loved ones competing in an immunity challenge, but I think having sort of a reward where the loved ones are involved is always great to see. Just the players interacting with them and getting mad at them and them sort of getting that experience of the game.
Well, something I'll say a lot this episode, Mike wins the challenge. We get to see Deborah, which was nice. I mean, Deborah was fun. 2 confessionals, more than Will. They had a nice little time together. Then they got practice for 30 minutes of the maze, which was okay. Boring. And then basically we get to the maze. It wasn't that amazing. Mike wins immunity. And then they start trying to target Rodney, it seems. And what did he say? What was his quote? Fugazi ass women? Was that his quote? I try to make sense of it. And then basically we get to Tribal Council, and Mike takes out Rodney and Sierra, thank you. Rodney didn't go then, did he? Sierra goes home. Cable, did I explain all that? Is there anything we need to add in between all those bits that I just explained?
Going back to the challenge, firstly, you guys have already said it. I don't like the giving the advantage. I think you win a challenge, you have your loved one visit, and you get food or something like that. The thing about this, maybe I'm wrong, but this advantage, when even his mum, she admitted fault, she didn't do it well, she didn't show him around, but I'm like, how much can she do in half an hour? What was she supposed to do to actually give him an advantage? Apart from walking him through it, maybe. I don't know. I just think that advantage was a stupid advantage anyway.
But he won.
Yeah, he did, but I still don't know. if there was much there. I mean, apart from him walking through it once before, but like she said, she was leading him the wrong way, and I don't know. I thought it was a rubbish advantage anyway. So,
but he won.
Well, you can't. But you know what? I reckon he still would have won without the advantage. To be totally honest.
Cable, your Cable, Colin. Too many C's in the room.
Well, I think I already answered this earlier. Yeah, I mean, the advantage wasn't an advantage at all. And I think I agree with Cable. I mean, if he won, it was just because he won the challenge. I mean, 30 minutes, they didn't make any progress. And it showed even with his mother not being blindfolded, she couldn't navigate the maze. So somebody was going to win this, and just ditch the advantages because it's taking up airtime that we could have seen other stuff on.
Jared?
Yeah, I don't think it was much of a help in the end. I will say that I thought the maze was probably one of the worst mazes that they've had. Like, I like the whole design of it, but it just looked kind of, I suppose they're blindfolded, but it just looked really simplistic and sort of a lot smaller and less grand scale than some of the other mazes that they've done. So I thought sort of this giant maze, I'm like, well, compared to sort of the other ones, it was a bit lame.
Wasn't that amazing, was it?
No.
Hold for laughter, didn't work.
Noah? I think it was an advantage. It wasn't Keith's advantage where he got to practice for like 7 hours or whatever. But I think it maybe wasn't what made him win, but it gave him a feel like we saw as soon as it started, he was off going while the others were still feeling around trying to figure out where to go. So he was still outgoing and like at least making a run for it. So I do think it helped a bit.
In the end, Sierra goes. Anybody I'm just going to throw this open. I'm not even going to ask you each individually. Sierra, anybody at all?
I have something to say.
Go, Colin.
I think that another one of the problems of the season is that we had a lot of storylines set up, and it was probably, again, just the editors trying to, make the audience second guess things and think they had things figured out. But a lot of storylines were set up this year that just never followed through. Most of Rodney's imaginary alliances would be one example, but Sierra, for like 2 or 3 weeks, talking about, I'm going to get my revenge on the blue collars. I'm going to get my revenge on the blue collars. They should have had at least some other character to show of her on there or some other footage. Why when we did see Sierra, was it always talking about getting revenge if nothing ever came of it? That was kind of frustrating with her.
Cable, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I'm with Colin too. I just felt like just the way it petered out for her. I think it was a smart move to get rid of her. I think she was definitely a danger to Mike, and again, probably not a deserving winner, but still sociable enough and likable enough that she could have got some votes. So I think that was the smartest move to get rid of her. Absolutely, but yeah,
I kicked Noah out. He stinks. No, I think that I think what it was interesting with Sierra. I feel as though we're going to get a lot in interviews that she was a lot more of a threat to win than we ever got to see in an edit. Kind of like a Caleb or something from Blood vs. Water, because it seemed as though, and I think Noah, you might have mentioned this to me today, that people in-game didn't really see that Carolyn was a threat, unlike we did at home. So maybe, like, while we're thinking, well, why the fuck would, Mike not vote out Carolyn when he's got an opportunity? Maybe to them out there, Carolyn's not an opportunity, whereas it might be the opposite for Sierra, if that makes sense. Like, we've got a terrible edit for Sierra, but at the end of the day, like, while they're playing with her, they might think that she actually was a really big threat to win. I don't know. So, Noah's, we're trying to fix something up for Zachary and Catherine. Noah's gotten his laptop, and he's going to try and do something. This is going to be a really weirdly edited episode if you're listening to this.
Couldn't you guys just go face-to-face and share a mic?
Well, Noah suggested that, but if I move this microphone, it's a bit touchy and it might, like, disconnect. Like,
well, come here
for a second. Like, I'll move this, but, like, all of a sudden, this might lose itself. So, no, I'm talking to this.
Woo sucks. I hate Woo. Well, I don't hate him, but he's not good.
Could you hear him then, people in the chat, in the thing? Like, Catherine and Zachary? Could you hear that? I really want a daiquiri. Do you drink daiquiris? Does that make me a little bit...
Do you make good daiquiris, Catherine?
No, Zachary. Does Zachary... Does Zachary make a good daiquiri?
Zachary daiquiri.
Sorry, we're just being... Catherine. She makes a good stout. Tea. With guacamole. You guys have no idea what we're talking about. Oh, well, you wanted me to tell a story? It's 12:08. Jared's going to get up and watch Eurovision. Noah and I went on a mandate tonight. We went and watched the symphony, and we went to McDonald's, and we built our own burger like we talked about last week. And there's like this touch screen that you've got to choose all your ingredients. And like you keep touching the fucking things and you keep adding things you don't want to add. So I went to choose a drink. It's not even funny. People are thinking we're idiots. You went to choose a drink and for some reason it kept making me choose tea. And I didn't want a tea.
A medium tea.
And it kept adding guacamole. Oh, we've lost the plot. Anyway, And the girl got angry at me because I was laughing. I was knocking over the balloons. The McDonald's lady was angry at me. Anyway, Survivor, Sierra. What a shame she went home. Jared, did you want to add anything on Sierra?
I suppose I'd just say that at the time, like I thought it was interesting, but looking back on it, I do think Mike's point about the challenges was fairly good considering she was close sort of in the maze table one, and then she was also close in the maze one tonight as well. So, I mean, I could understand it from that point of view. At the time, I thought it was weird that they didn't take out Carolyn, but I think that it was a smart move. I wish that they had sort of showed, I suppose, that it was going to be unanimous, or at least put that out there, because it's like Carolyn then just changed and took out Sierra, and it was kind of like, why did she vote that way? Like, it just sort of came from nowhere.
We never saw that bit. All right, so Sierra goes. We basically get to another challenge, and it was a pretty grueling, brutal challenge in the end. I think we can all agree there. But we ended up with a giant turd on a table. They had to put a lighthouse on a giant turd. Don't know if anybody saw that. But, yeah, epic last challenge. Mike wins. Noah, are you on? No, I haven't added you into the call yet. He sent me a Skype message saying, add me. Let's go to Cable. Cable, you're back. Hello, Cable. The challenge, Mike winning. And we should also point out, winning his 5th immunity, joining the likes of Colby, Tom, and Terry as the greatest immunity challenge winner in the history of Survivor.
Yeah, look, I really liked it. I don't know about puzzles. You know, sometimes that I don't know. What was the deal with the lighthouse? What was the relevance to the lighthouse? Normally there's a relevance.
It's now I'm getting epic feedback from myself.
Yes, you are.
There you go. Noah's going to have to mute himself every time that I talk. That works. I don't know what the point of the light, but Nicaragua is the land of 100 lighthouses. Like I don't know.
Is it?
Yes. It really is.
Oh, well then that has a relevance. But yeah, look, we can't deny it. Mike's fantastic. He's now got, like Jeff even said, he's joined an elite company of people that have only won the 5 challenges. I was really surprised and really happy for Rodney. Rodney was fantastic in that. He literally dug deep, I thought. Got those little legs pumping up the steps. And I thought at one point he was sort of dropping out, even with just getting the knots undone right at the start, and he was sort of falling behind. And so I thought, oh, here we go, there's another Rodney sort of failure. But I love that he kept fighting. Obviously, puzzles is not his thing, and you could see he was knackered by the time he got to the puzzle. I like the fact that Jeff did reference that Mike had joined that elite company, and also the fact that they all sort of got together and they seemed like a tight 4, and they really and all of us wanting to give the necklace. I thought that was just an awesome touch, and again that was a Survivor first, I'm pretty sure. So
you like that? You didn't think that was like ultimately cheesy?
It might have been cheesy, but I still think at least they acknowledged it. Like, I don't know. I did like it that Will's like, yeah, can we give him the necklace? And because I think Jeff previous years, if someone had said that, Jeff would have been like, no, and that would have been cut out, and Jeff would have been doing it. So yeah.
So we're not laughing at you, Cable. Noah's like,
I know, I can see Noah's doing something.
He's gonna have to unplug yourself. You tangled yourself in. Hang on, I'm just going away from you guys for a second.
He's doing a Rodney in a challenge, getting all tied up.
Oh, there we go. All right. Now piss off. You smell. He's gonna go and cam in the other room. So
I was
he's
gonna say
be
that.
like,
You sound really clear now, Ben, as well.
do I?
No, you sound a lot better than before.
Well, thank you. I do try hard. Where are we up to? Colin, talk to me about... Did I talk to you, Colin, about Mike and the challenge? No, I didn't, did I?
No. First off, I was a bit disappointed with the challenge itself. I mean, it played out fine, but the previous one, Jeff was saying, like, you're going to have all the energy you need because you're going to need it for this. Like, he was building up this challenge to be so big, and I'm thinking it was going to be some great endurance challenge, and I'm getting excited. Carolyn's really good in those. And then we get, like, some running, some sliding, and a puzzle, I mean, it's the final immunity challenge. It's fine if you're just going to do another generic challenge, but don't build it up so much, So it felt like a letdown for me no matter what. And I was really... there haven't been a lot of moments this season where I was really getting excited, and I so wanted Carolyn to win this. And, credit to Mike for winning the 5 challenges. For the record, I know Cable's going to hate this, but I mean, I think Colby did it because he was against the worst competition in individual immunity history. Mike had some competition, so I give him credit for that. But I wish that the challenge had been just a straight immunity challenge and not, well, here's 3 or 4 different tasks you have to complete.
Go, Cable.
Look, I know what Colin's saying. I think Jeff did pump it up. I think sometimes the reality is, though, that a lot of these challenges, sitting at home, it doesn't matter which way they edit it or the camera angles they show us, some just don't show the level of exhaustion on day 38 or day 37 and how much they actually have to go through to actually do the challenge. I think it looked like a pretty full-on challenge, running up those stairs. You could see Carolyn looked like she was going to do a Jacqueline from last year and collapse. But I agree with you, Colin. It didn't look as epic as it should have been, but I mean, sometimes those things just unfortunately just don't translate to television or translate across as well as probably should.
Jared.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a great final challenge. I think sort of they mentioned in the preview that it's the biggest sort of slide that they've ever had on Survivor. So I mean, that was something. But I think just overall it was just boring and repetitive. It's kind of like the station challenge, but just without the stations and just keep doing the same thing over and over. I'm glad that it was a lot closer than initially it kind of looked like it was going to be. Like, as soon as I thought it, I was like, well, Mike's got this in the bag, and then at least sort of it became close in the end, and then I thought for a second that Carolyn was sort of going to catch up and take it there. But I think there's been a lot better final challenges. I don't think that they've been that great, and I suppose the past few seasons, I do think that they sort of need to potentially head back to endurance or just something different would be great to see in next season.
Just like, the classic put your hand on a pole for like 5 hours or something like that, I love how
Thailand's challenge. Like,
yes!
Something really, really exhausting.
I agree, Colin. Bring back tangrams. I love how Noah's in my kitchen right now.
You're complaining about light. I was in your freaking lounge room with all the lights on. There were no more lights. I've done all the lights.
Noah, can you this is be actually quite funny. Noah, can you bring me some more mints? I'm out.
I don't know where you keep your mint.
Go to the cupboard behind you, and there's a little green tin of a clip, and then you'll be come back up here. It'll be funny.
I'm just gonna pretend I dropped out, and you'll see me making a sandwich in the background.
Make me a coffee.
the Will sandwich.
You forgot your buff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lied. He didn't make a sandwich. I would have voted not for him to win.
There's a banana in here if you want
it. Bring me a banana. Noah, what did you?
That's what he should.
Go, Cable.
No, go, Noel. No.
What did I think about what?
Mike, the challenge, the winning 5 immunities.
Oh, did we talk about the frickin' giving him the necklace?
Cable brought it up and said he liked it.
Oh my gosh! Like
I actually kind of like that too.
Oh,
like congratulations for
Some
tying the
redemption
record.
for him.
Good job for tying the record, but oh come on! Like they're all just
I
sucking
think
up because they don't want to get voted out.
No, I honestly think the scene was necessary because, I mean, you know, Will was not going to come across like a positive character this season, and he did have some redeeming aspects, and I think it was a good idea to show that, and for him to do it, and also for the show to show that, because it did give Will some redemption. It would be terrible, you go into a final tribal council, and he's just the most unredeemable character ever.
get out of my cutlery drawer! Sorry, Colin. He's like getting a knife out. He's gonna come and kill me. Help! He's like in another room. He's about to walk up and murder me.
Has anyone ever died in Westmoot before?
I'm about to. There's gonna be a murder like You got vodka behind you there, Noah.
I didn't like the giving the necklace thing personally.
Well, tell us why, Noah. What didn't you like about
I think I did. Just because it was really cheesy and like it's pretty good accomplishment to tie a record with Colby Donaldson, but like, it's just why? Like, why?
Keep talking.
Well, you're supposed to.
Yeah.
I'm frozen.
This episode is a mess. Well,
Start again.
Yeah, start again. Quick, Ben, because you have to
narrator
say.
for whoever's just listening to the recording here.
Yeah.
Keep talking.
Oh, I didn't have anything else to add on my getting the necklace. You could have asked me a more open-ended question, like, what do you think about Shane Powers missing out? Then I could have kept talking.
Sorry, I just wanted to get some more mints, as you wouldn't bring me some. Yeah, what was okay, Mike winning the 5 immunities. Like, Colin, you brought up a good point in terms of comparing it. Jared, where do you think Mike winning the 5 ranks up against Tom, Terry, and Colby?
I would say somewhere towards the bottom. I don't know. I just don't see Mike as like a. I feel like those other people were sort of more purely, maybe not Tom, but the others more purely physical players. Where I don't see that. Like, I just didn't think of him as like this huge immunity threat, sort of constantly. Whereas I think the others were sort of from the start of the merge, like the threats and sort of the challenges. Whereas I suppose Mike, it sort of became that way out of necessity almost, and I think the competition did sort of whittle down a lot when it sort of came to sort of the last few challenges, so I don't think they were that difficult to win.
As Noah helps himself to my food. Cable, what about you? How do you rank it?
No, I do rate it, but I think Zachary made mention of Colby wasn't up against much, and Colin, I think, said the same thing. Look, at the end of the day, Colby, it's not his fault who he's up against when they do those challenges. And they're there to win. They try their best, and if they win, they win. I think I would rate Terry's effort probably one of the best, and same with Tom. I think that was still when the challenges were quite, probably a lot more tricky, maybe less puzzles if I can remember, and a bit more on the endurance side of things. And same with Colby, whereas, I don't know. I would argue that Mike didn't have the greatest of challenges either, a bit like a Colby. I don't know if he had, if Tyler had stayed in the game longer and a couple of others, maybe he would have had a bit more of people that would have pushed him to the limits.
Colin, do you have anything to add? I know you were the one who kind of brought it up, but I don't know if you wanted to add anything extra.
Well, I completely agree. I think that Terry and Tom really stand above everybody else, and I would compare Mike more along the lines of, Kelly Rigglesworth or Jenna Maraska.
Go fuck yourselves.
It was.
Be careful, otherwise you'll bring up Rob Sestradino.
Oh, leave him alone.
We love you,
I think this was more like Jenna or Kelly, where they really performed well when they needed to, whereas Tom and Terry, they had these built-in stories where they had this great competition. I mean, Terry had Aris and Tom had Ian, and it was really every single week you were honestly thinking, well, this is the week where Ian's going to win. This is the week where Aris is going to win. And it was real competition. And again, credit to Mike, because I think that he definitely had more competition than Colby. But what would we have? We had Sierra, who was constantly like in second place. Carolyn, who won a couple early on. The thing that really sets it or doesn't put it up there with Terry and Tom is that he didn't have that one rival he was always battling with. So I don't think he's going to go down being remembered as one of these greatest challenge performers of all time. He'll be remembered for the record like Colby, but he's not going to be at a Tom or a Terry level.
Noah, anything to add on Mike's 5 and where it stands with Tom, Colby, and Terry doing the same thing?
Well, I guess a record's a record. Like, you can bring up so many factors, like Colby's competition was like Tina Wesson and Keith Famey. Hashtag Keith was robbed for 31. So, like, you could bring up all sorts of different arguments. So I guess records are records, and he's up there with the kings of the challenges.
Well, he is. He is indeed. So we then go...
Can I add one more thing?
Please do.
I think one other thing that should be noted is that there's more individual immunity challenges now. And again, not taking away what Mike did, it was impressive that he won all those, but he also had more individual challenges to compete in compared to those first few.
Well, that is a very good point you make, Mr. Hilding. How many...
That's what I'm here.
Quickly go through 1, 2, 3, 4...
But
5,
also there was
6,
5 and 3,
7,
so it wouldn't be too
8.
different.
So there were 9 in this season, whereas Colby would have had 7, if I'm not mistaken. And Terry and Tom would have also had 7, surely, wouldn't they? So
8.
Did Tom have less because they merged at 9?
That's a good point. Come
Colby
on, Zachary.
had 8.
Come on, Zachary. I know you're here. You take...
Yeah, Zachary's got 8 each, he said.
Yeah, Colby would have 8 because it's a final 2, not
but
a
I'd
final
question
3.
Tom's. Tom had 7. Yeah, so Tom won 5 out of 7. That's a boss.
That's a good strike rate.
That's boss mode. So that's what, about like 80%? 78% or something? I don't know my maths. 5/7.
Right,
Zachary,
next.
do the math for us. Come on.
Quick, Zachary! Chop, chop! How many 7s in 100?
Next topic.
But you could argue with the Tom one that, I mean, look, I like Tom and I'd still put him up there, but you could argue with the last one, it was kind of a lie down by Ian to let Katie go and all that. So you're like, well, how, that was like a quit. So it was almost he got that on by default.
Now you're just polling.
Record of 10-something hours, that's, I think that cancels it out.
Okay. Aussie, 5 out of 6. 5, what?
6?
How does that work, Jared? He didn't win 5 in a season.
Oh, Cook Islands, because it was delayed merge.
But Aussie didn't win 5.
Didn't he?
Didn't he?
No, because Aussie's not part of that record group.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I thought Aussie was up there too.
No, Aussie only won 4 because he's never mentioned in that group.
Oh, okay.
I love it,
Maybe
Jared.
he's
You're
forgotten.
like, isn't he?
I would think he did. Who else won? Adam?
1, 2, 3, 4. No, he did win 5.
Adam,
I see 5 here.
So why is he never... Oh, fuck, I don't know.
Well, I don't know what this group you're talking about. I don't know.
Come slap me or something. I don't know.
All right, next.
Yeah, all right, next. Whatever. We host Survivor podcast. Now we go to the challenge, the tribal council, and we got to talk about this move by Mike because at the end of the day, he forces a tie. Rodney and Carolyn go at it. We have Becky versus Sandra 2.0. For some reason, they're allowed like 30,000 extra flints. We can talk about that too. Shouldn't they only just get 1? And yeah, let's talk about this move by Mike. Let's start with. No, you get the ball rolling here because I know your thoughts already. Mike's move to force this into a tie and not just vote out Carolyn.
Come on. Let me preface this by saying I do think Mike is a good winner. It's not like he's the worst winner at all. He's around the middle range, I would say. But
Oh, why? Maybe people are going to try and defend it on this podcast. I don't think there's any way you can defend this move. And you say, oh, no, Rodney, they said in the reunion he gets 3 votes. Jen said in a exit interview that she only realised Rodney was playing after she watched the show. So she wouldn't have voted for Rodney. That's a big fat lie. So what is there's no purpose, because you take Rodney, you take Will, you're guaranteed a win. You take Carolyn, you're not guaranteed a win. Obviously, the argument is like with Cable that we were saying before, like he still won, so maybe it doesn't even matter. But you guaranteed a win, and Rodney can't vote for Will. Will can't vote for Rodney because they're there together. He's probably going to win 9-0, or 8-0, sorry. Here, he's risking losing. Obviously, Carolyn wasn't as liked as we thought she was, but I can't see how you can even defend it. The one thing we came up with was maybe he was trying to get Carolyn's jury vote. But he probably would have had it anyway, and if he didn't, it wouldn't have mattered. So I think this, even though I do think Mike's a pretty good winner, I think this was a completely useless and ridiculous move. So I didn't understand this.
I want to have my 2 cents because I never really get to have too much of an opinion.
No.
Sorry, Colin, Cable, and Jared, but I agree completely with Noah. I said it as soon as that happened, and we had Paul here too, and Paul was going off at Noah and I thinking that it was a smart move. But exactly, I agree with you, Noah, that 100% that even if you're going for Carolyn's jury vote, at the end of the day, Mike still had the votes to win that, even without Carolyn's vote. And Mike, at any point you've got an opportunity to guarantee yourself that spot, because I guess, as we kind of alluded to earlier, maybe none of them really respected Carolyn as a player enough that she was ever going to win, hence why she didn't get as many votes as we maybe perceive she should have. But, really, you're going to go up against Carolyn, who, again, is also the only female that could get, some votes from that angle. You never know. Whereas, there was no way in hell Rodney was winning that game. The only way Rodney was winning that game if he was up against Sierra and Will. And Sierra had gone. So Rodney wasn't winning, and, Will clearly wasn't winning either. So, yeah. Colin, what do you think about it?
Again, this is what's frustrating about this season, is that the editors tried so hard to surprise the audience that I don't think we're ever going to see why Carolyn didn't win the game. So, at the same time, I don't think we're ever going to know why Mike decided to take her unless we hear interviews, but you'd have to hear everybody's opinion to get full perspective. The thing with this move is that it does make sense, in a sense, if you are looking to get Carolyn's vote, but you also have to look at what Tyler said in the final tribal council, where he said that Mike was just taking every opportunity he could to sort of destroy the game, and that's kind of the way I viewed this, is that as soon as Mike was on the outs, he almost was so in this mode of, I want to tear things apart, I want to create controversy, I want to make this difficult for everybody, that I don't think he was ever focused on the jury vote. So I would like to say that, he had a plan the whole time, but I think he was honestly just in this mode where he wanted to make good TV. He was kind of playing like Malcolm. And that's why, at the same time, it's all the much more a mystery how he won, because we don't see that this move helped him in any way, but we also don't see, based on the votes, that it harmed him. It's such a confusing season. I think the one takeaway from this is that fire challenges probably need to be eliminated now from the final episodes, because it's not making the show look good, a show called Survivor, when we've had, two seasons where this has happened, where it's just a complete disaster and nobody can make a fire.
Cable.
You caught me in the middle of a sip.
What are you drinking? Can I ask?
I'm not going to say, but it's a
Is it a
bourbon.
Woodstock?
But it's
Foster's.
No, it's not. No, it's not a Foster's, but it's in my Purple Kelly. You've got one of those, Ben, haven't you?
You did send me one of those.
Yeah.
Awkward.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think on the edit we were shown, and look, it is hard. Obviously, all the players are not privy to everything that's been said, but I actually thought, and I think Dan kind of said it in his jury speech, I actually thought that Mike almost did a Colby, winning 5 challenges and taking the wrong person to the end. I thought Carolyn was going to be... I thought it was going to be closer, and I thought he might lose this taking her. Yeah, I think he definitely beats Rodney and Will. But again, I got the feeling, even the jury speaking, there was a lot we didn't see about Mike, that he was a bit more negative than... I don't know. I didn't feel that he was like a negative player so much, or maybe as maybe potentially unliked as he was. And we obviously didn't see that, because I thought him and Carolyn are winning this game easily. So I don't know. There's a lot to... Again, I'd love to see a bit more behind the scenes.
Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. It's so frustrating because we're all wishing we could see an explanation as to how this season turned out the way it did. And I'd love to be able to see a different edit of this and have it show, because I guarantee that there's a reason why Mike did win. And it, like you said, Carolyn maybe wasn't as well liked as we thought. Maybe it was like a Kim Johnson thing in Africa. But we don't get that explanation on the show, and it's making it really hard to judge this season, and it's going to make it even harder when you go back and rewatch the season, because I don't think there's going to be any explanation there even on rewatch.
And Shireen's jury speech as well, which I'm convinced she was just joking and that she was always voting for Mike and it was just a play. Maybe the producers even told her to do that, I'm not sure, but that's just an anomaly in itself.
Jared.
Yeah, I don't think it was a great move. I think the thing that's telling is if Rodney had been a threat in the end, I kind of feel like he would have been edited more that way, and it would have kind of been like, oh, Mike's making sort of another big move here to shake things up and get out Rodney, who's a threat to the end. So I don't think it was a smart move, and I don't think Rodney really was going to be a threat in that jury vote. So for me, it was kind of a real weird choice to vote that way and not just make it simple and take out Mama C.
No, you're doing this series, aren't you? The biggest mistakes winners made. What's the series you're doing? Like winners, obstacles, or
that's Ivan.
Oh, is it Ivan? Fuck, I don't know who writes our articles. I just put them up on the website. I don't pay attention to what you guys write. It just means I don't have to do anything. But yeah, like, I mean, you would put this on that list, wouldn't you?
Well, I started writing a top 10 mistakes made by winners, but then I realised that's kind of redundant, so I scrapped it. But I still feel like this is...
top 10 cancelled top 10s.
top 10 unnecessary moves made by winners. This would be in there. Like, I think Mike is a good winner. I'm not taking that away from him. But this move... He won in the end, so what the frick does it matter? He won. It doesn't even matter, like, no matter what we say. But still, he could have bettered his chances. This move and the auction are the two things that dampers his game. If you take those two out, he played a pretty damn good game.
I'd agree with that.
Can I just say one last thing on it?
Please do, Cable.
They all had the edit, I might have made $1 million mistake with this decision. And that was the thing I was thinking. I'm like, well, if you know in your heart it might be $1 million mistake, why make it? The other thing was, I thought it was interesting, maybe, like you said earlier, Ben, that maybe he was trying to, if Carolyn did lose the fire-making challenge, that he'd have her vote to show, he was voting for her or voting with her. But why wouldn't he do the shifty and go, okay, Carolyn, I'm going to vote for Rodney, we'll send it to a fire break? Why wouldn't he tell Rodney how to make fire? Get him to practice fire, and then, do you know what I'm saying? So he's got both covered.
You didn't. I mean, this is the thing where, sorry to interrupt. Like, I thought for sure that Carolyn was winning that because they just made so much emphasis on Carolyn doing that. They showed nothing of Rodney. So, I mean, I'd be interested to hear the exit interviews and that to see if Rodney practiced. Like, did Rodney have a clue that was going to happen? You know what I mean?
Mm.
So, yeah. Rodney goes home! We have this fire building challenge. The extra fucking flint, like, that annoyed me. And then Carolyn...
I thought that was, to be honest, I thought that was piss weak. When I wanted a fair challenge, but once it broke or whatever for Carolyn, and then Jeff almost, here's another one. You got.
I was going off at that when that was airing, and then as soon as Rodney got his, I'm like, oh, okay, well, fair enough. Now it's a bit fairer, but yeah. Sorry, Cable, keep going.
Yeah, that was
no. I agree. I just thought they tell you, you've got the same amount of stuff, this and this, and then there's backup. there's a backup Flint and there's a backup this. So that's bullshit. Like,
Yeah.
bad luck. If you run out of whatever, you run out.
I agree.
But
I agree. I think it should be exactly that case. Poor Rodney. We got to mention Rodney's final words when he just fucking Mike, fucking fuck. Anybody want to chime in here on Rodney? Just go in.
Should be in second chance.
Hell yeah! Why the hell was he not on second chances?
I love when he burnt his shirt, just chucked it in the fire. It was great.
And the cake he got at the review.
Yes, the cake he got, and his like $2 best and less suit that he was wearing. Like,
I wanted that cake to be like made out of rice or something. It would have been great.
And then no, Carolyn should have taken it at the last minute. No, you're not getting it. I want it.
A reward that will fix wishing.
Like it actually. Go, Cable.
were you any of you others amazed at how they struggled for so long to light fire? Rodney gets it, and then within about 15 seconds, she gets it as well.
Was that you, Noah, who said oh, maybe the producer just quickly snuck underneath it and lit it?
Yeah, that was a bit fishy.
a bit dead fishy.
Dead fishy.
Filet fishy.
Another funny McDonald's story tonight. When we were lined up waiting to pay, a woman behind me goes, "What's a fillet of fish?" And I'm like, "It's a burger with a piece of fish in it." There's not really that much of a question there. So Rodney goes, all right. Nobody else anything to add on Rodney?
Should have been in the finals.
Go, Colin.
I can't be the only one who's a little bit disappointed. Again, as is common with this season, we get these setups for things that never come, and Rodney had a great reaction when he was voted out. And, of course, as they showed the clip, the Ponderosa clip, which they never show, 10 minutes later had a change of heart. So I understand they had to put that in there to explain why Rodney was upset when he was voted out, and then at the final tribal council he seemed okay with it. But why not then just not show Rodney upset in the first place? And again, it was all right, well, Rodney's really upset. I'm thinking he's gonna give it to Mike in the final tribal council. Then it's okay, well, now we have to show you this Ponderosa clip to explain why Rodney's all tame in about 10 minutes.
Is it a bit I can understand last season's with Keith, because it was Keith. And Rodney's Rodney, but Rodney wasn't we didn't have Jeff Probst on the scene doing his one-on-one with like he did. I don't know. I thought this season, as much as I love Rodney, it was a little bit pointless to have that scene.
But he came to a new understanding and he accepted himself. It's a redemption story. He doesn't need a second chance. He's come full circle.
Redemption Island story.
We can't. It's a reality show. We can't control what really happens, but wouldn't it have made better TV for them, the producers, just to say, okay, well, why don't you explain in your final jury speech, this whole revelation you've come to, and then we don't have this awkward scene in the middle, literally 5 seconds after we saw Rodney going off on Mike.
Yeah. Okay, so Rodney goes, we get the generic final three breakfast, and then, which... I'm kind of over how they end this now with just the last confessional from each of them. Bring back the jury members talking about the
rites of passage.
It's kind of like a wasted 5-10 minutes. I don't particularly like.
And their breakfast looked kind of cheap this time too. They had 4 eggs and a piece of bacon.
And we didn't mention in the challenges. I think Noah, you said they're running out of props because we had a giant turd to put a lighthouse on, and then in the one before that we had a frying pan to stop it's getting lazy. All right, so then we get the final tribal council. We didn't see opening speeches. I'm guessing they did them, but they probably just edited them out. And in general, pretty weak final tribal council because we didn't get much from anyone. We had Jen doing her best Eric Spencer Jeremy. We had
her worst Eric Spencer Jeremy.
Dan and Mike's reunion loving. We had Dan banging his head on a table. We had Shirin. And yeah, Jared, start with you. Final tribal council, your thoughts on how it all played out.
I think it felt really short, and I think that was just because of how much they included in the episode, and now since they include the stupid let's cross back to live to Jeff at the reunion, which I hate. yeah, it just felt really kind of flat. And the thing that I hate at Final Tribal Council is when there's not many questions, and it's just people making statements, or they're asking a question to one person and not to all three. Like, I like sort of the more classic. I suppose it's easier probably in a final two, but where the person gets up and they ask a question to each person, and there might be one person amongst the jury who doesn't ask a question and just makes a statement. But when it becomes this big show of everybody, how can I make a speech or a statement or cut somebody down and make it so I'm remembered? So I think they feel that if they do sort of this memorable jury speech, that they're ensured a spot in a future season. And it's just kind of really frustrating.
Meanwhile, what are you doing, Noah?
Making toast.
Are you really?
No, I needed to plug in my laptop.
I'd like some toast, actually, now that you mentioned
I'll bring you some.
I'm a bit hungry, actually. Let's go build another burger. Colin, Final Tribal Council?
Yeah, it's not just that it felt short. I actually clocked this at 13 minutes. I mean, there are regular episodes of Survivor where tribal councils come in that long. And again, what was more surprising was that at the end of it, Jeff was like, this is one of the craziest final tribal councils we've ever had. I'm like, it was 13 minutes and we didn't really get anything. And again, just to back up how confusing the edit of this season was, especially for Mike, the only person who really was out there pushing for Mike to win was Jen. And she kind of contradicted herself even in her pitch for Mike. She's like, none of his plans in the game actually worked out, but he outwitted, outplayed, and outlasted everybody. And that was all we heard in support of Mike, really. So I liked some of the moments. The back and forth thing with Dan and Mike was good, but I would have rather than been some questions and beginning and closing speeches. I mean, surely we could have skipped part of, maybe 30 seconds out of each challenge and give them a speech, because it was obviously there. Just give the airtime to that.
Cable.
Yeah, I have to agree. It was a weird final tribal council. Unfortunately, if they don't get good material, they can't obviously make it better than what it was. I actually thought initially, Joe getting up first and what he said, I loved what he said, but then he didn't actually even ask a question. It was more just, guys, be on your guard. This is what we want to hear. So I thought it was a great opening, and then he didn't ask a further question. Again, we might not have seen it. Dan and Rodney, I thought were going to blow up, and that was going to be the big controversy, and they fell flat. They were disappointing. And then Shireen's one was interesting. Obviously, had her stuff, and Mike came and saved me, but it got to a point I was like, I feel like she's overacting and she's playing for coming back for another season or something. It just felt way too scripted. But I did love there was a Colby Donaldson reference.
Yes.
There was a Sue Hawk reference. And look, I could be wrong, but when Shireen went to vote, she sniffed the pen.
Yeah,
someone else has done that.
I saw
and
that.
That's from someone else has done that, and I just, for the life of me, can't remember who. But that's a reference to somebody else doing that at a final tribal council, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, there's a trivia question. I know I've seen that too.
Yeah, it rings a bell.
I reckon she definitely did that to
Zachary
as homage to something.
Damn you, Brianna Varela.
Dan K. Noah, Final Tribal.
I didn't think it was horrible. It had its moments, some entertaining bits. I didn't like the Jen thing, not because it's Jen. I don't really like it when people do the whole vote for the person I want you to vote for. Like, I'm not big on that. Shireen, I can't think of any other thing other than she was lying and it was a whole sham when she said she was voting for Carolyn. I find it extremely hard to believe she changed her vote in that small time. So I think which is quite cruel to get Carolyn's hopes up like that if she really was doing that. I'm not saying she was, but if she was.
She pulled a Brenda Lowe.
Yeah. Well, not as low as Brenda Lowe, but it was still like, you're talking. She defended Carolyn's game so well, and it was just like, yeah. And you'd think there would be more ripping into like Will and all that stuff. They kind of built that up.
Yeah, I was expecting that.
Well, he's a dead fish.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I'm so offended you called me a fillet fish.
Please, Grimace. What?
I think if I could say one thing in defence of Will, I think he handled the questions quite well in the final tribal. I'm not sure if anyone noticed that. I thought he handled all that, defended his game. Like, I didn't have to do strategy, but I still made it to the end. I was pretty impressed with him, even though there was no chance he would win. Carolyn, brilliant in the final tribal council. Mike, not so much, but it didn't matter because he had the game locked up anyway. And it was just weird that they were ripping into him. It's not like they changed their votes. They were always voting for Mike, so it was funny that they ripped so much into him and not the other people. But I'd just like to take this moment to say, even though Mike is a strong winner, Carolyn played an amazing game. She's one of the best players of recent times, and I was so upset that, no disrespect to Will, but she came equal with Will in the finishing position, and we were thinking this was going to be like a 4-3-1 vote. We thought it was going to be super close.
We wrote it out, and we almost said it was going to be a tie.
Yeah, well, I said Rodney would vote Will, and you said, no, we won't. I'm not writing that down. And you were right.
Sorry to jump in if someone hasn't spoken, but like you just you just said about you were working out who's going to get the votes. I had a feeling that it might be a 4-4 tie, and that's why Jeff Probst was also talking up this season being epic, and it's going to be a great season, and it was going to be interesting how they decided the winner from that point of view. But obviously it didn't happen. But did any of you think that could be 4-4?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't, but Ben wrote it down as 4-4 anyway, even though I said no. I just think, again, I don't want to sound like I'm ripping shit into Mike, because he did play a good game, but his game was that auction thing, that Carolyn firebreaking. He had like no alliances towards the end, and his only option was to win the challenges and use idols. Compared to Carolyn, she kept an idol from day one through to like day 37 or 36 or something. She had alliance members. She took out her threats. She made the social games. She did what she needed to do to get to the end. She played such a good game, and hands down she would have won if Mike wasn't in there. And even Shireen was talking up her game, and Shireen hates her. So Mike is a deserving winner. I just would have loved to see Carolyn win. And if she didn't win, I would have loved to at least see her get 3 of the votes, because she deserved more than equal with Will, and she should have been on 31. # justice for Carolyn.
Same amount of votes that Wu got.
That I just want to. Where's that knife?
It's a tough one to swallow because.
Sorry for rabbling on.
Well, I agree with you, and it's a tough one to swallow because, again, and I'm the same. Mike played a great game, and I'm not here to shit on Mike, but I don't want to say it, but I still feel people are going to hate me. Fuck it, I'm saying it. People are going to hate me for saying this. I think Carolyn played a better game.
It's such a hard topic because Mike won. I think majority of the game, Carolyn played an all-round better game, but clearly Mike played a better social game because he won in the end.
Again, this is the problem with how the season was presented, because I honestly believe that with a vote that lopsided, Mike did play the best game, but as viewers, we'll never get to see it because the show presented Carolyn as the winner. And really, if you look back on token sheens, I mean, Steven, I thought, had it locked up, and then his final tribal council, I'm like, okay, well, he probably blew it. The only mistake I can see Carolyn making in the final tribal council is that when she was asked what moves she made, she didn't bring up the max vote first. She said, well, I started with Tyler. It's like, had she brought up the max thing first, maybe she would have presented her game as having more relevance throughout. But that's a very minor mistake, and that's not going to cost her any votes.
And maybe her idol, keeping it as long as she did.
With the exception of Dan.
Yeah, she didn't even mention when she found it, did she?
But I'm guessing she did. Surely there's no way they didn't do opening speeches.
This was very rushed.
I mean, we have heard it so many times in interviews that other questions have been asked, but it's just been heavily edited. I mean, we've even heard that they've edited, with Purple Kelly. She mentioned that her answer that she gave, that they showed on TV, was not even to the person she asked the question to. So, they edit it clearly, but, yeah, the things that she didn't mention that I'm assuming she would have mentioned, but we just didn't see it on screen. But
it must be just Mike was better. I don't think anyone changed their votes in that tribal council, with the exception of maybe Dan. I think everyone had their votes locked in, and I think the same for every tribal council, with a few exceptions. But yeah, it's just such a weird thing, this whole editing thing, because yeah, I don't know. I think Colin kind of subbed it up, but I'm just confused about a lot of it. And I just really wish... I don't think she should have had to have won. Just got at least 3 votes, more than Will.
One thing we should mention, pretty cool that we had a no collar, white collar, and blue collar in the end. That was... I think that's a pretty cool thing how that ended. So Mike wins at 6-1-1. Carolyn had a very bad night because then she's obviously not on 31, and you could tell Carolyn was gutted. Like the 3 seconds we got to hear from her in the reunion, thanks Jeff, she was gutted. And then when she's not on, and the poor thing, Carolyn has to. She's right now as we speak is probably speaking to America, doing exit interviews. Do you think she's wanting to talk about Survivor right now? I'm thinking not. She wants to go into a little ball and cry, and I feel so horrible for Carolyn. And the thing is, I think Jeff, the way he comes across on screen, that he absolutely loved Carolyn. And that's not very often that you see Jeff really showing his love for a female contestant. So that's not Julie Berry.
Hashtag justice for Carolyn.
Yeah.
Hashtag Carolyn was robbed for 31.
And I guess we're not really mentioning anything about Will, but there's not a whole lot to mention about Will, perhaps.
You got to vote.
I will say that I agree with Noel. I thought Will handled himself at Tribal Council really well. I mean, not a lot of stuff was directed, but when he did speak, he spoke clear, and he didn't seem like he was like the normal goat going to the end. He was never going to win, but I felt like he held his own pretty well.
Jared, I feel like you haven't said anything in a while. Have you got anything to add?
Not about Will, but I think you have to think that hopefully Carolyn will return for a future season. I think talking about second chances, some of the other people who've missed out, I kind of feel like that's it for them. But I think for Carolyn, she's got a good chance of coming back for future time. But I will say I was also gutted that she just didn't get more votes. And I just hate that we haven't had sort of like a really close final tribal council since Nicaragua. It's frustrating that they've been so sort of one-sided.
That's a very good point. And I mean, one thing you should also mention, I guess, is this the 4th time that we've had all final 3 members get a vote. So joins China, Philippines, Blood vs. Water, and now Worlds Apart.
Sam Mundell, sir.
What did I say? Blood vs. Water. I meant, well, yeah.
Sam Mundell, sir, Blood vs. Water.
50% correct.
Blood vs. Water 2.
Yeah, thank you.
Filmed in Nicaragua. Thank
you, everyone.
The font used was Island Style 4.
So then we get to the, let's just call it, quote, reunion.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, was that Dr. Phil or what?
Look, we should gloss over this a little bit in a way, because I feel we're in a no-win situation with how we will talk about it, but it was disappointing. We only, heard from about 4 or 5 of them. So we hear from Mike, fair enough. 2 seconds from Carolyn. We hear from Rodney. We hear from Joe, who's Joe's fine. I have nothing against Joe, but okay. And then it turns into the Jeff the Propris show. I just want to say about the whole Dan situation. From my perspective, it should have stopped after he apologised. He should have moved on to Will. It was fascinating to see that scene unedited. Don't get me wrong, that was very interesting. But that whole sequence turned into, hey, Dan, let's address this issue, to, I'm Jeff Probst, I'm defending my show, you were wrong, don't call out my show the way you have. And the thing that really got up my goat was the fact that Jeff Probst blatantly comes out and says, do you hate women? I want Dan, the perfect comeback there from Dan. That's rich coming from you, Jeff.
Yeah, he should have said that.
This whole situation, It was way OTT. I feel so sorry for Dan in that situation. He manned up. He handled it well. He apologised. And then for Probst to even call him out on his T-shirt, like...
that was the lowest point of a reunion. Like, I'm sure we'll touch on it, but that's what pissed me off. I'm not apologising for what Dan said. I'm not a Dan apologist. He said some bad things, but to say that man is sexist based on a punny T-shirt that says male escort because he's a male man, like, come on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like, we can get into the other stuff, but that T-shirt bit was the lowest moment of Survivor, I think. Male escort, it's a joke because he's a male man, he delivers mail.
And I probably should point out here, this is probably going to go down well, considering there's 5 men talking about the topic of sexism. But...
Well, I think we all agree that Dan said some bad things. That's
absolutely. Like, I agree with that. I'm not a Dan apologist either. I think you said that perfectly. But again, Dan apologised. He handled himself very well at that reunion, I feel. And again, it should have ended after he apologised. But Jeff just had to get up there on his high horse.
Although I have to say, I love Jeff's quote where he says, "Well, I reviewed the footage and there was no Yo Mama jokes." That made me laugh from Jeff. That was funny.
And then Dan goes, "Oh, you're throwing me under the bus."
Oh, yeah, that was uncomfortable to hear when he said that.
I love Colton, but a message to Colton, that's probably how you should have handled it in One World.
The thing is, I think they should have talked to Dan. They should have done this. But Dan summed it up well when he said, "I want this season to be remembered for the positives." They should have talked to Will. They should have talked to Dan. They should have talked to Shireen. They should have done a segment on that. I want to hear from Vince Sly. He seeks truth. I want to hear from Joaquin. Like, I think it should have been touched on, but I think it was overboard because it was already a shortened reunion as it was, and I want it to be remembered for the positives, not just all this negative.
How come Joaquin was in the front row?
I didn't notice that.
Go, Colin.
Can we also talk about how the issue that with everybody's having with Dan and with Will? Will may be a different story. With Dan, some of the stuff it's not necessarily that's taken out of context, but it's just the way that he communicates. It's the way a lot of people communicate. And if people that he knows in real life aren't offended by it, that's the way that they are.
Yeah.
The thing is that people in today's day and age want to take everything take offense to everything that's said. Why don't you go back and watch past seasons? Jeff Barner said the exact same thing about Kimmy in Australia. He was talking about shaking her. I mean, Shane Powers threatened to kill a woman. I mean, and I guarantee that the people who are ganging up on Dan are the same ones who are voting for Varner and for Shane. So, I mean, it's just the problem with this modern age of Survivor where social media has taken over. I wish that there would be a social media less Survivor because, in a way, it's making the show more negative. Most people would just watch it and they'd hear Dan's comments and they'd, stupid joke, but hey, whatever.
Preach, Colin, preach!
Yes! I'm not apologising for anything Dan said, but he defended it well when he said, would you go out and kill someone? Like, it's an expression. I want to slap that person. I want to slap you, Ben, right now, and I'm tempted to go into that room and slap you. I'm not going to do it.
Please do, Noah. But Lindsay, didn't she mention something about breaking whose jaw was it or something like that?
Yeah, Lindsay said she was going to break Rodney's jaw, and we didn't hear any of that. I'm not apologising for his comment. I still think it was a bad comment. But I don't think he meant anything by it. Obviously, people took offence, so he should apologise. People were offended, and we need to learn from that as well. We should apologise when we offended people, because we did that too. We did apologise. But I feel like the comments were bad, but he didn't mean it bad. His intentions were not, I want to harm women. I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't want it to make it sound like I'm this big Dan supporter, because I think he said some bad things. I just think this was way overboard.
At the end of the day, Colin, I think, summed it up perfectly. And look, we live in a society where, unfortunately, we're super sensitive people. And it's something that isn't going to change anytime soon. And sadly, that means that we live in an age where we've got to be a lot more careful with what we say. We're a lot more monitored by things like social media. Fair enough. But, like, I sort of summed it up with, like, someone like Dan. Like, I see elements of Dan in myself. My dad's similar. Like, we've all got that kind of like dad or uncle or somebody who, you know, the type of person they are. They say things that aren't really PC, and you know, which doesn't excuse it. I realise that, but you know that as a type of person that they're not like, they don't hate women. You know, they're not racist. Like, you know, if you compare Dan to an actual person who hates women, and I know guys who are very misogynistic and they mean it. I think there's a difference between being a bit of a joker and saying inappropriate things and moving on, and being an actual misogynist sexist who hates women. So, yeah, look, I just would love for this day and age for people to just not be as sensitive, but I guess it's just how it is.
It starts some talking points, which I guess is a good thing.
Yeah. And Catherine, I know I realise you are a woman, but I meant in terms of on air right now. Hello, Catherine. We are glad that you join us every week.
Call in, Catherine.
Call in, Catherine. You have before. She has before.
Has she?
She has. Yeah. Catherine's called in before a couple of times.
Oh, I mustn't have been there.
Yeah, no, Catherine's left voicemail messages.
Yeah, voicemail.
But Catherine has called in live before. Catherine, we know you have.
I mustn't have been there. Then.
Catherine, you're from Melbourne or Sydney? Are you Sydney, I want to say. I'm friends with you on Facebook, I should know that. Catherine and I are like this. We're BFFs. So anyway, that's that season.
Will got off easy on like what we thought. We thought Will would be copping it more. It was Dan who got it. Will got off easy, but he did apologise in the end.
But Sharon didn't accept it.
Well, she didn't accept it, but she also kind of. It's hard to. I need to rewatch it before I comment on it properly.
All right, we should move in. It's like 1:05. Eurovision starts in less than
season 31.
Sorry. I'm so glad I've got tomorrow off work. So we didn't get back. I didn't get spoken to either. Poor soul.
None of the pre-mergers. Not a single person.
Vince, we had to hear from Vince, and I was disappointed, but it was just a complete.
Jared, who were you disappointed that we didn't hear from?
Nina.
Jared, I just want to put this out there. If you literally want to go to bed right now, like seriously, you can, because you've got to be up in like 3.5 hours. So
I'm honestly fine. I'll just sleep after Eurovision is over.
Okay, all right. Just putting it out there. Cable, you really want to get up for Eurovision, so if you need to go, like.
No.
Actually, okay, before we talk about next season, shall we get some of these final questions out of the way, then talk about it, or shall we get to the review and then do the final questions?
I want to know what our list from the other night was in the finishing places.
As in who we predicted for the episode.
Yes,
we do that in the preview episode, Cable. We don't do it in this episode.
No. You asked us last week.
The order. I thought you meant for second chances.
Quick.
No.
Oh,
all right. Look. No. Okay. I'm gonna quickly talk about second chances, and then we'll get to the final questions to close it out with. Second chances. The reveal happens. It was very rushed. Because they took way too long to.
But exciting.
They had the Survivor Second Chances bus.
That was an ugly piece of garbage, that bus.
Who all here thinks that they got in that, did a lap, went back to the studio, and then said goodbye to their loved ones and spent one more night in LA? Like,
yeah. The bus.
Great for TV.
The first challenge should be on the bus.
Yes. Well, I said that to a lot of the contestants.
Should be like Speed.
Yeah. What, the drug? First of all, Kelly Wigglesworth is coming back. Yes! Sorry.
First person off the bat.
Sorry, just so happy for that. I mean, did we like the reveal? Let's start with you, Jared. Like, I think we kind of all sort of had ideas on how they would do the reveal, but the way they kind of went through the crowd, like, you're not coming back, and you're coming back. Jared, did you like how they did that?
I'm kind of on the fence. In my head, I just thought that it would sort of be like, maybe they'd have like a screen up and then just get the dramatic music and be like, the first person on is so-and-so, and kind of just go down, maybe do the men and then do the women. And I think then that kind of would have made the last reveal a bit more dramatic than than kind of it was coming down to Spencer, Joe, and Brad. But I mean, I think it worked out okay. It was very rushed. They took a leaf out of Eurovision's book in the semi-final and just rushed through it. It could have been. I did like the idea of people sitting together, especially like some of the combinations were really good to have certain people next to each other. And I was glad that we sort of saw the people miss out and sort of saw how disappointed some people were and how
you evil bastard, Jared.
Jim and Stephanie.
Other people were just like, meh. But yeah, I think it was good that we got to sort of see everybody who was potentially going to be on it instead of them just sort of bringing up the people who got on.
Colin, what did you think of the whole reveal?
Yeah, I actually liked it better than what I thought. I thought we were just going to see them all, sitting in a section of the crowd and they'd call one up at a time. But I like being able to see the reactions, particularly Jim and Stephanie. I think they had strong reactions. And I was worried at first because there was this huge rush of, this person's making it on, this person's making it on, that there'd be no suspense in the end. And of course, when it came down to the last three and you see, Spencer, Joe, and Brad, it's like, one of you's not making it. I mean, even Brad knew at that point who wasn't making it.
Cable?
Yeah, look, I didn't hate it, and I know it felt rushed. I feel they could have, if they had more time and maybe given themselves that extra 15 minutes for the reunion, they could have definitely made the drama a bit better with potentially revealing probably the people that everyone assumed were going to be locks, like your Spencers, maybe Jeff Varner, and putting them in straight in, and then leaving that sort of middle range, sort of borderline player that we all think, maybe they'll make the 10, maybe they won't, and leave them to the last and make it really dramatic that way. But yeah, they did it the way they did it. So
Noah.
It was rushed, but I kind of liked it that way. It gave a sense of urgency towards it. And it was kind of like, well, we don't get to hear them talk about how they're sad. We're going to move on, and we'll never see these people again. So you go, Cable.
No, I was just going to say that he kind of left it open that some of these people could still have another chance of coming back at some point. Jeff, he never ruled out they were never coming back.
He was just saying that to be a bit nice.
No, he did say that they're not going this time, but it's not that. And I reckon that some of those people would be still in their thinking, especially if they were on the cusp from the voting point of view. But yeah,
I was just going to say, I think Jared pointed out the seating plan. I loved that. We had Cass and Abby Maria together. We had Keith and Kelly Wigglesworth. We had Varner and Kimmy. We had Savage and Terry.
Got to talk about Varner's reaction. Sorry, I'm interrupting you now. No, it's just interrupt. No,
yeah, Varner running up, nearly tripping.
He was so happy.
And I loved that Savage was crying before they even got to him. And then Jeff was teasing Savage like, Terry, you're going through. And then, but it was uncomfortable, but it was kind of like a train wreck. You couldn't look away at the people who got rejected. It was very uncomfortable to watch, but it was kind of like, this is very entertaining. And Shane was robbed.
Jesus, I could hear that banging from up here.
But Keith got in. And that was an early get-in, so my heart was fine after that.
All right, let's quickly just go through who got on. Joe, Vita, Spencer, Jeremy, Terry, Sierra, Stephen, Tasha, Abby, fucking Woo, Kimmy, PG, Cass, Keith, Shirin, Monica, Andrew, Jeff, Kelly, and Kelly. So just really quickly, because we're going to do a preview episode about this. We've got lots to talk about this. I'll start with you, Colin. Ones you're most happy about, ones you're so over the top angry about, and just overall, is it a good cast?
I wouldn't say I'm angry about anybody. I think the only players that I really was worried could make it on the season that would bring absolutely nothing were Natalie and Michaela. And after hearing Michaela's interview, I don't even think she would have brought nothing. But let's just say Natalie's the only one I really couldn't care less about. I'm so happy that all of the old schoolers made it on there. PG and Varner, especially. I'm very disappointed that Stephanie and Troyzan didn't make it, and especially T-Bird. Surprisingly, I didn't even vote for Jim Rice for the first week. And then when I started listening to his interviews, he really sold me on him as a season, but clearly Probst was indicating he's going to bring him back at some point. So the one that I'm kind of indifferent on is Wentworth. I don't know if I've seen the personality from her that's going to make this an interesting season. But even Wu, I mean, when he did speak, he had some funny moments. Is he going to play the game? No, but every season has people who don't play the game.
Colin. Veto!
Because I didn't say Shane?
No, it's the fact that you semi-defended Wu. Jared.
I think it's a fairly good cast. I was happy to see lots of people back. Particularly, I think Terry, I really wanted him to get back on, so it was good to see him back. And to have Abby and Cass both on is great. And I think the main thing is that there's not too many people from each season. I'm pretty sure the most is Kageyarn with 3, I think.
4.
I don't know if that's right or not.
4.
But yeah, to think potentially going to the vote, we had 5 worlds apart people, and that was sort of a bit, and then to only have 2 on, I mean, that's a great result, even if I'm a bit indifferent about the sort of the 2 who made it, but to only have 2 from the season, that's great, and it's a good spread of seasons, so I mean, that was the main thing that I wanted, and I'm glad that that's happened.
11 people are from the last 4 seasons. I'll just put that out there. Cable?
Yeah, look, I was definitely surprised with some people that got on. I had 7 females that got on I was voting for. I had 7 males that I was voting for that got on. Obviously, Wu is the biggest. Seriously, what the fuck? Jeremy, I understand why he got on. I wasn't voting for him. That was no disrespect to him. I was really wanting to see Jim Rice back and Shane Powers, so I was really gutted for them. Troy, I would have loved to have seen back again as well. I wasn't a massive fan of Joe, so I don't give a fuck about him. I think with the women, the women's the interesting one because I think Colin said Michaela, wasn't that interesting, whatever. And I'm a bit the same as Stephanie. I wasn't a Stephanie fan, but I would have liked to see Michaela back. The one glaring omission is T-Bird. I almost would trade Kimmy out to have T-Bird in. No, I love Kimmy Kappenberg, but I think T-Bird, if there was a possibility you could do a trade, I would trade T-Bird in for Kimmy. I think T-Bird's a better player. And some people have said, we thought she'd probably win if she got on. So her not making it's just massive. And again, no disrespect to Shireen. Shireen is a fan of this show like we all are. So I have respect and I have an admiration for her in that regard. But as a player and something to watch on TV, no, I just don't understand why she got picked. But she got picked, and recency bias obviously is running rampant. But what can you do?
Shireen has a huge fan base.
But that's just ridiculous, isn't it? I don't understand that. But
look, it's how it is, I guess.
Well,
Noah, did I not ask you? Although you kind of already.
Well, the one I was really upset about was T-Bird. When Jeff went to, I think it was Stephanie, PG, and T-Bird, and he said only one of you are getting through. My heart just sank because it was like it's a lose-lose situation because I want all 3 of them on there.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for PG. I thought she could miss out, and I was so resigned to the fact that Kimmy would miss out. I'm like, who's going to vote for Kimmy, even though I did? So I was so happy to see Kimmy and Varna running up to that stage. That was
your Keith reaction. Come on.
Yeah, the Keith reaction was something different, but 8 people from Australian Outback. That's pretty cool. I love that half a season has returned.
And can we point out our stat, Noah? Remember, every time a season has featured an Australian Outback returnee, at least one of them has always made the Final 4.
Yeah, so there you go, Varna or Kimmy. The obvious one is Shane, and Wu got on this season. Oh my, Wu, I can't do it. I can't live.
I'm sorry. Yeah, look.
Shane Powers is never coming back to Survivor. Put that into your brain. We will never see Shane Powers on Survivor again. Now he was votes away from being back on the season. It's over.
Wu,
sorry.
At the same time, I mean, does Does anybody else think that there was potential that Shane was just going to go Johnny Fairplay on his second try?
But it's worth the risk. It's just...
Shane is up there like as a like Terry in terms of they've been asked back so many times. I am devastated for Shane, Troyzan, and T-Bird. I would have liked
T-Bird will never see her again.
I'd like to see Stephanie. My biggest WTFs, Woo, 100%. None of us are really talking about Monica as a WTF. Like, Monica's interview, like, I actually enjoyed speaking to Monica and she made some good points, but I think Michaela sold me more and Stephanie sold me more than
Kelly
Monica
with an E is a more WTF than Monica.
You know,
over Carolyn, over T-Bird, give me a break.
We're not talking much about Carolyn missing out too, but like, look, I'm going to be the only one here defending Kelly. I've had so many interactions with Kelly on a personal level. She is an amazing person. There's a lot there that we didn't see.
She may be a great person, but we're missing out on T-Bird.
But there's a lot. Yeah, like, I would put T-Bird over Kelly 100%, but I still think Kelly is. I'm happy Kelly made it.
It's what you're saying, though, Ben. You're saying there's a lot that we didn't see. If we didn't see it, then why are people voting? That's what's surprising about this.
Because Kelly is, like, this is what I was trying to explain to Noel before. Kelly is very active with fans. She always engages with them. She's very popular in the fan community because even when the season was on, she was very popular. And it's that recency bias, of course it is, as that mixes in. It's like a Shirin, like, I don't know, there's a few here that if you did this in 10 seasons' time, they wouldn't be on. But because they're within the last couple of seasons, I would put T-Bird, I would put Carolyn, I would put those two easily over Kelly Wentworth. But that's probably it.
What's more heartbreaking about it is Shane tweeted yesterday saying, "This will be my last tweet in 2 months." That is heartbreaking because he thought he was a lock, and it's like, Shane, you're not on.
He was on every exit poll that people said. He was always in like the top 5, basically.
Can I just quickly say as well, I think it was a huge mistake to do voting, as I said to you, voting for a second chance season. Because T-Bird, the likes of T-Bird, Jim Rice, Stephanie, they have zero chance. Keep it a voting season for a fans versus favourites, where fans vote the favourites on.
Exactly.
And let the producers pick it.
Even do 16 of the choices are fans, and then the producers are going to make up the last 4 so that you have those backups.
Or 10-10, so the producers have the tribe that's full of the Spencer, the Joe, and then the fans get to vote for the people we want to see.
Yeah.
But I don't think that recency bias really is why, or even fan interactions is why Kelly's in there, because it certainly didn't help Max. I mean...
Yeah.
But Max is, like, no offense to Max. I think it's different, because Max isn't, like, you don't really see much negativity to Kelly, besides the fact that a lot of people aren't happy that she's on, whereas I see negative comments about Max.
Max looked like he knew he was not on this season.
I think Max just comes across as a bit of a tryhard sometimes. Like,
Ben.
I don't. That sounds a horrible way of putting it. I don't mean it.
I just think he never stood a chance with all these other big names on the season.
I don't mean it in that aspect, because, no, okay, I'll take that back. That sounded a bit too... But, like, it's hard to explain in terms of the... Like, I've just dug myself a hole. Whatever. Send me hate mail, Max. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it that way. Probably get hateful tweets in 5 minutes when this goes up on air. Right, whatever. It's 1:21. We'll talk more about that after.
Maybe we need to do another second chance episode.
Oh my god, how many are we doing?
I think we need to do another one before the actual preview, because there's so much to talk about.
A preview.
We need a second chance to do a better second chance interview.
Yeah. I said to Ben we can finally get Jim Rice on
Jim
for
will
that
do it
long
now.
overdue campaign interview.
Our scheduling sort of got fucked around a little bit, but
Jim Rice campaign interview next week.
All right.
We've got to start lining up T-Bird and Jim and all those for the recap episodes.
I can't bear
the exit interview.
Oh, what?
Jim and T-Bird for their exit interview about not making it on the season.
Exit interview from the Ed Sullivan Theatre.
Okay.
Actually, that was almost worse than Wanda and Jonathan Libby.
It breaks my heart. I'm thinking of their broken hearts.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Stephanie's reaction, though, like that there's that clip of when they say PG's coming on, and the way Stephanie reacted, I was like, oh.
That picture Shane posted of himself with the caption, "Owned." Oh.
All right. So just a few things that we'll go over here. Confessionals ended up. Mike got 76. He got 13 in that last episode. Rodney with 53. Carolyn 51. Dan 37. Excuse me. Jen 36. Shireen 33. Tyler 27. Joe 26. Will 25. Sierra 21. Haley 14. Kelly, remember her, 12. Vince 12. Joaquin 10. Max 10. Sorry, Max. Please don't hate me. Lindsay 7. So 7. Nina 6. So in terms of Mike,
Deborah 2.
Mike on 76, so he easily beats Natalie, loses to Tony, easily beats Tyson, just beats Cochran, and yeah, we're not going over every season. Okay, let's look at the sweep. Oh, fucking hell.
Jimmy!
Jimmy! Sorry. Jimmy wins! I'm done with the sweep. Jimmy wins.
He wins everything.
Jimmy wins $100 like
He's
he needs
the winningest winner of all winning time.
Well, Noah, congratulations. You and James pocket $32.50, which you've already got in your bank account. You're welcome. And poor old Julian, who had 2 in it in the final 6. And he ends up getting 4th with Rodney, and Joppy / Gemma had Sierra. So, congratulations, Jimmy. You are officially disqualified from season 31. All right, predictions. Okay. How you feeling tonight, Jared?
Same as normal. No expectations.
All right, let's start with Sierra. So she finished in 5th. All right, so Quill, I won't drag this out much. Paul put her in 2nd.
Go for it.
Paul, Noah, you said 11th. You're not getting it. Joppy said 11th. You're not getting it. Rossi said 16th. Jared, you also said 11th, so you're not getting it. Paul's currently closest. Julian said 4th. He goes closest. And I said 4th as well. So Julian and I get the point for Sierra. Rodney finished in 4th place. I said 12th. Paul said 14th. Julian said 17th. Joppy said 14th. Jared, you said 9th. You're closest so far. Rossi said 7th. Sorry, Jared. Noah said 4th.
Yay.
Ding, 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 ding. You get exactly 2 points.
I got it right.
Okay. So then we move to... Well, there was no 3rd place. It's equals 2nd place. Carolyn and Will. So we'll start with Will. Actually, let's start with Carolyn. I said she'd be the first boot. So I did well there. Jared also said she'd be the first boot. And Paul also said she'd be the first boot. So 3 of us did well there. Rossi said 15th. Julian said 6th. But Noah and Joppy both said 3rd. So
I think that should be 2 points.
No, because
there was no
second.
3rd place.
Well, it doesn't matter. She still finished 2nd.
That's 2
so you
points.
still get a point. So that does equal you with me, Noah, for the overall lead right now with 2 people to go. Will, I said 13th. Noah, you said 9th. You're winning so far. Paul said 9th. You're both winning. Julian said 16th. Rossi said first boot. Joppy said 5th. He's getting the point. Jared, you said 5th. You get a point. Yay, Jared! All right, and the winner, Mike. Going through this quickly, I said 7th. Noah, you said 15th. Paul said 10th. Julian said 9th. Joppy said 13th. Rossi said 13th. If I get this point, I win it. Otherwise, it's a tie between Noah and I. Jared, you said he would be 2nd. You get another point.
Winner.
How did this happen?
Jared,
this is the reason that Shane didn't get on next season, because I got points and it ruins everything.
So how it ended up, Jared, you ended up last year with 2 points. Rossi, Joppy, and Julian all ended up on 3. Paul ended up on 5, and Noah and I win. We both got 7 points.
Money!
Money. Well, I don't get money for that. But
Do
anyway,
I get money?
You get money for your whatever.
But what about for winning? Forget it.
All right, so I'm going to go with a hashtag first because these questions, I'm going to quickly go through these last ones at the end. All right, Cable, hashtag for this episode of Survivor Oz and hashtag for this episode of Survivor.
Oh shit! You came back to me with hashtag for the episode was dead fish. Hashtag dead fish, and hashtag for this one hashtag woo.
Woo! Oh god, we have to do that again next. Noah, hashtags.
For this episode, hashtag Ben's Kitchen.
Sounds like a cooking show.
For today, we're making mince. And for the episode of Survivor, hashtag Justice for Carolyn or hashtag Shane was robbed.
Just for people at home, that's the James Bond thing we went to tonight. James Bond, License to Thrill. Yeah. Colin.
Well, for the Oztopsy, it has to be hashtag bring me my mints. And
and toast.
For this Survivor and for the entire season, it has to be hashtag.
Yay, Jared.
For the Survivor episode, I don't know, hashtag seating plan. And for the Oztopsy, it has to be hashtag 2 points but still lost.
All right, gonna fire through these ones. Best player of the season, Noah.
I'm gonna get shit for this. I'm gonna say Carolyn.
Cable.
Sorry, so what was the question?
Best player of the season.
I still think the hardest player was Mike, and probably deservedly so. But I think the whole scheme of things, I think Carolyn was just a fraction better.
Stupid thing is we ask a lot of these in our OzCat, but whatever, that won't be for a few weeks. Colin.
I don't think it's any knock against Mike to say Carolyn because that's what the show presented to us. So I'll go with Carolyn.
Jared, do we have a clean sweep here?
Yes, we do, Carolyn.
Ooh, worst player of the season, Jared.
Max.
Oh, he's hating us now. He's never coming on this show. He already proved that. Cable.
I don't know.
Come on, Cable.
Come on, Cable.
It's 1:30 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, I've had a long day. It's been so hard. Yeah, Max.
Max, I love you, mate. I'm only joking. Please don't hate us more. Please, I'm sorry. I'll shut up. Stop talking about Max. You're getting me into trouble. Noah.
I'm tempted to say Nina, but I think I'll probably go with Will. I think he's played an all-round terrible game.
Colin.
I don't know if anybody played worse than Vince, unfortunately.
Max, just look at this. I'm growing a beard in tribute to you, all right? So we love you, Max. Most underrated player, Colin. Say Max. The overall opinion is Max from Survivor Oz. Okay. No, I'm kidding.
I want to say Dan so badly, but I don't think I'd be able to justify it. I'll say Jen.
Cable.
Underrated?
Yeah.
I reckon Tyler's still underrated.
Jared?
Rodney.
Yes, I was waiting for somebody to say him. Thank you. Noah.
I think Rodney's a good one, but just for the fun of it, I'll say Joaquin because he started at the bottom and worked his way up, only to get out because of a bromance.
I go there. Most overrated, Noah.
I don't think there was one this season, but let me think. Maybe Shireen and I know, Hayley. People seem to think that she's this massive strategic mastermind. I didn't see too much from Hayley at all, so Hayley.
Noah. No, you're Noah. Cable.
Hayley! Oh, Jen. Sorry, Jen.
Sorry, I'm totally just doing like a...
I changed my vote anyway, Jen.
I'm doing a Mary Crook from... Whatever. Cable.
Shireen.
Jared.
Jen.
Okay, Colin. Canadian.
Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this is kind of a weird question considering two of them already are returning. Person you most want to return, Colin?
Well, Carolyn. Should have been her anyways.
Are we going to get a Carolyn clean sweep here, everyone?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, Jared, all right. Sorry.
Vince.
Cable?
Yeah, I'd have to say Vince or Rodney.
Yes, Rodney, come on, Noah.
I'd love Carolyn, but if I couldn't have her, Vince.
I love how I've written the same question here twice. Most want to return, most want to return. What? Anyway, who got the most screwed this season, Noah?
Was there anyone?
Rodney.
Yeah, probably Rodney, because I'll just say Rodney because I can't think of anything else.
Colin?
Carolyn.
Oh yeah, Carolyn. Yeah.
Jared?
So.
Oh, all right. That's the person. Cable. Cable.
I'd actually have to go with Jared as well. I think So got just a bad rub because of Joaquin's decision.
What about Joaquin? Because they threw the challenge to get Joe out, and then they voted Joaquin instead.
Well, that's probably true too. But yes, I think So could have been a good character too, and I don't think we saw enough of her.
Okay, who was the Purple Kelly of this season, Noah?
This is
Sierra.
Who? Cable.
And
easy.
Kelly.
Yeah, it has to be Sierra. If you don't say Sierra, actually Kelly was a bit quiet as well. So, but I'll say Sierra.
Colin.
If it wasn't for Kelly's epic inability to throw a challenge, I would have gone with her, but I'll have to say Sierra.
Jared, we have a sweep.
Yeah, same as everybody else.
Now, all of us are in the process of ranking these seasons, so this might be an easier time to do this, but whereabouts would you rank this season overall, Cable? Give me a rough, top, middle, bottom. Don't have to give me an exact number.
Probably middle, a little bit lower than middle.
Cable. Colin!
Ben, just remember, cool, calm, collective.
While I agree with Noah that I wouldn't rank Mike that low, I actually just finished my rankings this morning, and this is in my bottom 5.
Ooh, controversial. Julian.
Julian's not here! That's why no one freaking replied!
We're quiet and we're waiting, like we're all like, come on, where's Julian? Where are you?
Julian answers late.
Jared!
I would put it somewhere similar to Colin. I think kind of around the 25 mark.
That's the answer? I don't know what he said.
25. I'm going to say I'm with Colin. I did mine last night, and I think it warrants a rewatch before an accurate ranking. But I have mine currently at the bottom 5.
I'm still waiting for Julian's answer. Have
Where's
we all
Castaway?
Yeah. Yes, we've all answered, Ben.
Who would be the fan favourite of this
There's
season?
a lot of questions.
Yeah, fuck God. Who would be the fan favourite of this season, Noah?
Joe Anglam, or probably Mike, though.
Cable?
Well, going on the fact that he was supposed to be in that 10, if you hadn't have won, you'd think Mike then, wouldn't you?
Yeah, probably.
Well, Joe, I guess. Joe made it too, but I would say Mike. Probably.
Jared/Julian?
Joe.
And the Canadian?
Well, I think considering Prope said he was one of the most popular players in 30 seasons, it has to be Joe.
Yeah.
That was such a random bullshit comment, wasn't it?
That's it. That's the last question. Keep going, Cable, if you want him. It's only 25 to 2 in the morning.
I don't hate Joe. He's a likeable kind of guy, but we discussed it all year. You saw him a lot early. He disappeared. He was pagonged out of the game, and everyone loves him like he's Boston Rob all of a sudden. Well, what the fuck? Anyway.
Okay.
Rant's over.
We're done. Thank you to everybody who's here and listened to this and gone over everything and listened to this. I'm losing it.
Thank you, Catherine. You're a very dedicated listener.
Thank you.
I mean that.
Thank you. Yes, Catherine. Seriously, round of applause, Catherine. I think you've been here every single live one. Every time we don't do a live one, you get angry at us.
20 to 2 and you got to teach your class. Well done.
And watch Eurovision. So, can you teach the kids tomorrow how to listen to a podcast?
Teach the kids golden, boy.
And And perhaps, like, if you teach a class on how not to produce a podcast, you can show this as an example of the reason why Survivor Oz doesn't win any awards except from Eastern Europe.
Higher in detention.
Yes. So a big thank you to everybody who has tuned in to our Oztopsies for Season 30. We appreciate your support. We will be back for Season 31. It's going to be very entertaining Oztopsies next season. They're going to be fun. We're going to enjoy doing a lot next season, but we're going to have to wait to September, folks. So we've got a 4-month wait till we do that. And to all the Ozlets who have appeared on the show across the last 14 or so weeks, thank you very much. And also to the ones who are on this episode tonight, Jared/Julian, thank you.
Thank you. Let's hope that Golden Boy doesn't turn out to be the Shane Powers of Eurovision.
Oh, in 3.5 hours, we're going to be able to see Golden Boy perform. Yes! Go Israel. Cable, thank you.
No, thank you for having me.
Oh, God. Colin, that's your name? Yes, thank you, Colin.
Woo!
Oh, no. Oh, no. Noah, get out of my house.
Yeah, it's been fun coming live from your kitchen.
Coming to you live from Ben's kitchen. It's Noah has a
where the mint's at.
Sounds like a song. Where the mint's at. Now, just a few things in terms of the Oscars have opened.
Really
so
good.
Vote. Well, I've got to tag our own things. Vote in the Oscars. You can even vote for Castaway. It's a good...
And not Jerry.
Yes, we noticed a couple of anomalies. I can't even say the word. Jerry Manthey apparently was the only woman excluded from Sexiest Female of all time. For the greatest player of all time, you can vote for Castaway, which is a good movie.
Most underrated movie.
So, look, we're sorry. We rushed. We got it up. But we've already got some good feedback. Quickly, Cable, you're not eligible for Ozlet of the Year. Noah, give a 10-second plug on why people should vote you for Ozlet of the Year.
Vote for me, and I'll promise that the podcast will never go to 20 to 2 in the morning for live episodes.
Colin, why should you win Ozlet of the Year?
Because I didn't vote for Woo.
Oh, Jared, you got a lot to top there.
Because I come last in everything, so I deserve to come first in something.
Oh, and Cable, you're not eligible.
Are you going to be like Jeff? Like, Colin, you're out.
So vote. We will announce the finalists in about 10 days' time. SurvivorOz.com. You can click on there or just go to the
really
Oscars.
Cold in your house, Ben.
The Oscars. Come up here with the heater on. It's nice and warm. And we'll cuddle in a minute. No, don't worry. And to Facebook, Twitter. You know the drill. In the meantime, it's 20 to 2. My name is Ben. This has been Survivor Oz. We will speak to you next time on the trains. #We love you, Max. Good night.